Hello and welcome to One on One. My name is Fumi Onajefe, and today we'll be talking about road safety in Nigeria. My guest is Assistant Corps Commander Sani Abdullahi. He's the unit commander for Lekki Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He has an MSc in Defense and Strategic Studies from the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, and BSc in Political Science from the University of Abuja. He has experience in the FRSC. He has served in various positions in the Corps, including Staff Officer Operations, Head of Protocol Unit at Kaduna State Sector Command, and Media Assistant to Corps Marshal. He has been the Unit Commander for the Lekki Unit Command since August 2021. Welcome with me. Good day, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for making our time to join us today.
I appreciate the platform.
Okay, so let's talk about your growing up. What was growing up like for you, sir?
Oh, God. Thank you very much. I happened to be born in Ajobe.
Okay.
That is somewhere in Ankpa local government area of Kogi State.
Okay.
In the 60s. I'm a grandfather now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And as it was at that time, a child growing up was, first of all, a Muslim child.
Yeah.
First of all, start with Quranic school.
Okay.
I completed my Quranic school, and as I was completing it, I started the primary school.
Oh, okay.
Ending my primary school, I went to Tenka school. From Tenka school, knowing that I didn't have so much play with tools and working with electrical instrument that I read. I had to go and do my external GCE, which I passed.
Yeah, okay.
After which I went to University of Ibadan Adult Education Center, got my advanced level GCE. From then I proceeded to the University of Abuja. After which I joined FRSC, and all the long, here we are today.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
So let's talk about, so every time Road Safety Corps or, policeman or even LASMA, but usually it's the Road Safety Corps members that check my car. So I have a fire extinguisher, I have a C caution. Well, they usually let me go when they just check my papers, really.
Okay.
But I just wanted to find out, is there any other thing, even if the Road Safety Corps member is not checking for it in your car, what are the essentials that a car owner should have, whether a commercial bus driver or a private car owner? What should they have?
Thank you for that experience. The idea of we now delving into checking those things because of the consequences of not having them. They look basic, but definitely they are very, very important.
Okay.
So even if it's not for checking, in your own interest, in your own safety interest, you should have those basic things. For instance, when they check something like fire extinguisher, it looks, many people forget that fire extinguisher is as important to you as the vehicle you are driving. Because in the event of any fire accident, that 10,000, 5,000 naira fire extinguisher could save the whole of your millions of naira vehicle.
Okay.
People misunderstand it. The triangular warning sign, the C caution.
Yes.
Yes, as minor as it is, as minor as people take it to, you discover that if your vehicle breaks down suddenly on the road, you cannot move away from the road. You have to walk on it there, put it at the back, where people that are coming will be warned that a stationary vehicle is in front. And anybody who did not observe that and still run into you, cannot say that person is guilty of not being diligent. You understand?
Yeah.
And you look at issues of a light sign violation, like your trafficator, your full headlamp, your brake lights. These are things people take for granted. They believe that they don't need it. But we also know that these are minor things that people overlook, but are very important. So when they check all these things, and they also come to the issue of, let me look at your extra tire.
Okay.
Yes, you will think that you are safe when your tires are functional, you are moving, but not knowing that in the event of that tire, getting punctured, you need another one, which you may not get. And the place this happen may not be the place where you can keep the vehicle. Go and look for the tire to be the one that you are using to be repaired before you now join it. All these are things that are measures. You may not use them, but when you need to use them, are they available? So these are the basic things that.
So how often? So if I buy a fire extinguisher, how regularly should I, change it? Does it expire? So is it until I use it, or it's just there in my car?
It expires, and the expiring days are there.
Okay.
So if you have fire, many people we have seen, majority of them don't even know how to operate it. But it's not something you need to go to school to do. Or read the instructions. They are normally put there. And you may buy it just like tire too. Tires are like drugs. They also expire.
Okay.
Many people don't know that the tire you are using also have expiring date. They are there. But many people don't look at them. Therefore, they just believe that they bought new tires. But those new tires have expiring date that might have even expired. You understand? Just like a fire extinguisher too. The fire extinguisher you buy now may look new, or you might have bought it brand new, but it's expired. Therefore, it's still not serve the purpose of which you have bought it.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about education from the FRSC to especially commercial drivers.
Yes.
Do you go to their motor parks? Because I see them all the time. So for example, this morning on my way to work,
Yes.
I saw an overloaded food truck. It was carrying food items going to the island, and this little was not a very big truck, was tilted to the other side and moving at a very slow pace.
Yeah.
So I went to find out, beyond just arresting them on the highway, do you go to their motor parks to educate them, to talk with them, even in the markets, open places?
Yes.
What does the FRSC do to educate these drivers?
Thank you. You see, FRSC management, in its wisdom, directed all the field operators that every morning, from units to the sector, every operational base of the corps, you must go to garages.
Okay.
Talk to the driver even before they set out for their daily activities. Talk to them on the need, first of all, to make sure they check the basic items, tire, water in their vehicles, wiper, and other basic things. And the need for them not to do some certain, engage in some certain traffic violations, like you have mentioned, overloading. The consequences of overloading the vehicle. Because when you overload the vehicle, you are not only overburdening the vehicle, you are creating the opportunity for you not to maneuver in the event of any incident. Because you are reducing the lifespan of that vehicle through constant overloading. So we put all this information to them. Though we may not reach everyone every day, but as much as possible, we use all platforms, media platforms, part of which is what I'm even doing here now. Social media, mainstream media, motorpark rallies, conferences.
Oh, you have motorpark rallies?
Of course. It's part of what FRSC is known for.
Okay.
We organize motorpark rallies, and in fact, as we are going to the Ember Month now, you are going to be seeing the FRSC flagging up the campaign through motorpark rallies.
Okay.
Motorpark rally is one of our daily assignments, or common assignment that we carry out as a way of enlightening, updating, and educating the drivers on what to do and what not to do to avert road traffic crisis.
So now I am interested in those motorpark rallies that you talk about.
Yes.
What about the trailer parks? Because everybody in Nigeria knows how, and you are the FRC official who will have all the rates and
Yes.
how often trucks that carry containers,
Yes.
the heavy duty vehicles, how often they have their accidents for the minutest of things. Sometimes it's as bad as a friend of mine, her car was, thank God she had insurance for one of those heavy duty vehicles, and his brake was bad. And he would just say, Madam, I beg, no vex, my brake no catch. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Exactly.
So if you go to the trailer parks and you go to the motor parks and you have all these rallies, how come with this incidents are still on the increase?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We are living in a third world country, where safety is always put at the back end. We don't take it to the front end. And it's part of the challenges that FRSC has to face. You know, before the establishment of the Corps in 1988, Nigeria was rated as one of the worst nations to drive motor vehicle on. And coming from that, you will see situations whereby when road traffic crashes happen, Nigerians believe that it is an act of God or evil spirits. Fatalistic belief that don't attribute those causes to factors that scientifically are known. So we have to battle with that to create the impression that road traffic crashes don't just happen. They are caused. And they are caused by factors that we know. And if we play by the rules, if we abide by those rules, we have confidence and trust that accident will not happen. And even if they happen, they will not lead to death or fatal injury the way we are seeing it. This has been the center point of our campaign all along. We are not getting over yet. We specifically look at the menace of vehicles falling. Let's say tankers falling, and articulated vehicle not properly hooked, also falling and causing hazards. We have had cause to engage in aggressive education, enlightenment, and enforcement. Part of which was even the issue of the minimum safety standards that vehicles, articulated vehicles, will meet up before they can be said to be operating on the road. So
what are the minimum safety standards that these vehicles should meet up?
These are one of them, as I speak to you now.
Yes.
We have those that load, because when cases of petrol tankers falling became too much, FRSC has to go into the questions of safe to load. That is physically deploying our men who stay at those depot, and ensuring that whichever vehicle that will be made to load must have some basic things like the brake you are talking about.
Yes.
The brake must be functional. The lighting system must be there. The tires, and the driver himself must also have evidence.
But how do you ensure, for example, so it's one thing that your official is there.
Yeah.
So what if he flags the vehicle and says this vehicle cannot go, but they still go ahead and get on the road?
No, because we are there in cooperation with the management of those depots. Therefore, whichever vehicle we identify not fit to load cannot load.
So what happens when this vehicle? So what about vehicles that now have accidents? Do they go back and trace it maybe to your FRC officials? Because we are in Nigeria, and sometimes officials can get compromised.
It's possible that, when we talk about accident, if it is a real accident have dimensions.
Yes.
It's possible that what has happened was something that was unavoidable. But if it's something that was a result of somebody's negligence,
yes,
it can also be traced. And I think we don't have such cases of a vehicle certified to have been safe to loaded and went to have. But of course, there are other places or areas probably which we have not covered and which those people could get all those items, and it could happen that way.
All right.
But definitely to cover the major ones that are engaged in this, we'll make sure that our men are there. And so far, that is why you are able to reduce cases the way you are seeing now.
Okay.
If not, in 4 or 5 years back, you know how it was in this country, where you're hearing of it happening here, it happening the second day, and so on.
Okay.
It's a continuous effort.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll be looking at, December, the festive season is upon us. So we're just going to be looking at, all the safety measures we all need to take, especially with commercial vehicle drivers. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
From 1 to 1 1 to 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1
Thank you for staying with us. This is One and One. If you're just tuning in, my name is Fumi and I have an FRSC official with me today. So let's talk about now. The festive season is, we call it Ember months in Nigeria. Yes. September, October, November, and then December, the mother of all festivities in Nigeria. So how is the FRSC preparing for this? And let's first of all talk in line with commercial drivers. We'll start with Lagos, for example, where we have the yellow buses. And we know that for anyone who has ever entered a yellow bus in Lagos, that seat belt doesn't really fasten. It's only most times when they see the FRSC officials or last mile officials that they quickly just, put it on. So we're talking about going to their motor parks to educate them, but consistently, this young man, I know there was a time not so long ago, the sale of alcohol was banned in the motor parks. So what is the FRSC doing about commercial drivers and safety of passengers?
Thank you. It's an issue in Nigeria where people maybe get up in the morning or they didn't sleep well, they want to artificially enhance their energy going through alcoholic or drug intake to keep them awake, and thereby making them to engage in acts that are hazardous to their life and the life of others. Like you mentioned earlier, that is why, in collaboration with relevant agencies, the sale of alcohol and some drugs within the parks were banned, so that at least the access to them could be restricted, and so that we can also be sure that whoever that is driving vehicle that we come across are not people that are under the social influences of illicit drugs, because we know the consequences of being there. What we are seeing in terms of people not understanding the benefit or adherence to the requirement for seat belts is the way it is in Africa or in the kind of society we live in, where education is very limited. I know when we started the campaign for seat belts, which is not even too long, majority of the people don't even know what the seat belt is all about. And they have never used it. They don't even know how it is. We even have to struggle with teaching people how seat belts. But since they started using it, we are seeing increased level of compliance. There are still some people that have still not keyed into it, but definitely improvements are obvious. That people these days now know that it is in their interest that when they are seated in the vehicle, either in the front or at the back, the hang the seat belt, because of the safety aspect of it, because of what the safety benefit of using seat belt. We have said it before, that overloading your vehicle, you are not helping yourself. And it is most common during this Ember month, during this severe period where many passengers are available, and the driver want to maximize the profit, the benefit by trying not only to overload, but also to overspeed, to speed to a level where they will go and come back and go and come back as many times as possible, so that they can drive. And the consequence of it is accident, crashes that could lead to death or fatal injuries, and ending people's lives in a manner that could be avoided.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that there's a time that the FRSC, the federal government, your organization wanted your officers to carry firearms at that point in time. How far has this gone? Because many people, even I kicked against it. I'm like, already with the policemen, we have so many issues. And then FRSC officials, you have also seen videos of where some of the times, and I understand sometimes it can be frustrating. You're correcting, a motorist or a passenger and they're misbehaving. You get emotional, you're jumping on their vehicle. So what happens when you now have a firearm? You shoot the person down. So how far with that? Has it been put down, or you're still carrying on to having firearms?
Okay, I think your opinion, people with this kind of opinion is why FRSC management has not been too aggressive in pushing for that arms. Because immediately, in fact, majority of us have gone for the training.
But why? I wanted to find out, why do you need firearms?
No, we too are also vulnerable to violent attacks from not drivers or motorists, but also from armed people who may want to attack us, or violent people who come with arms, and will become defenseless. We know over the years that the law that established the corps made provision for FRSC personnel to bear arms. But the fact that we have been able to enforce this law consistently for over 30-something years without that arms, anytime we stress the need for us, based on the experience our men have on the road to just armed attacks, the public opinion will want to say, no, we don't need FRSC to, and that's why government has been very, very reluctant. Outside that violent attack that our men are subjected to sometimes, and invading our offices where we become defenseless, we have been successful in using civil means to really enforce traffic rules in Nigeria. And even this debate came during the last National Constituent Assembly, during one of the assemblies, where one of the members was asking the Corps Marshal then, that is there any nation that you can recall that can enforce law without arms? And you really may not have that examples. You understand? But we, in our own case, we have been very, very successful in enforcing laws without recourse to arms, to use of arms. And that is a very good example that Nigeria is having. Despite the violent violent nature of the environment and the people with whom we have to enforce this law, at least we have been successful in enforcing the law without recourse to the use of arms.
All right, fantastic. We just have a few more minutes to wrap up. I just want you to give a message to the motorists on the road. What are the things that what are the things or one thing they need to know to ensure their safety on the road?
Thank you very much. First of all, when you operate with the cautiousness that your families are waiting for you, you will not even need a law enforcement officer to restrain you from speeding, to make sure that you check your vehicle well before you enter it, and that as you are driving, you are not driving alone, you are driving and sharing the road with other road users, and that your action, or the action or inaction of others, your lives will not depend on source, that you have responsibility to be defensive in driving, and making sure that you don't overload your vehicle, you don't overspeed, your lighting system are functional, your tires are properly inflated, not over, not under, and that you are not under the influence of any drug or alcohol, and that you can see and be seen, and that your judgment may not lead to anything happening to you. When you are operating like this, even if we cannot prevent accident from happening, we have the assurance that even if they happen, they may not lead to fatal death or fatal injury. These are the realities with life, that accidents don't just happen. They are caused and they can be avoided.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just wanted to find out from you, what about your erring officers in FRC? How do you ensure that the officers, under your command are doing their job, they're not compromised, and and when they do fall out of line, they're punished, and when they also do very well, they're rewarded.
Thank you. In fact, FRSC is one organization that you can say have the strictest type of guidelines on monitoring their officers. We are people that, we are an organization that is dependent on civility as our principle. Even as the law trusts us with enforcement, they also trust us with attending to crash victims. We are blending regimentation with a civility. And that is a peculiarity that is not too common. That as you are seeing me in uniform now, people see us as enforcers. We are also first aiders. You understand?
Yes.
That creates that personality that a nation must trust. And therefore, we cannot afford a situation where our officer and men will betray that trust. That is why constantly they are under surveillance.
Okay.
Surveillance to make sure that whatever they do conform with the operational guideline. Under the surveillance that they don't intimidate, they don't harass the people they accost in the course of doing their work. And two, that whenever there are cases of corruption, like taking bribe,
Yeah.
well, no nation or no institution is able to say we are 100% pure. But in the case of FRSC, since we don't have a return system whereby people go to the road and do something and return to the command officer, they know that if you are involved, if you are caught, either by the command officer himself or outside surveillance, you are on your own. With that institutional support for corruption or corrupt practices does not exist in FRSC. And that has been our focus. And that is where we are.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be reaching out to you more often, talk about this, especially now, like we're going into September, October. We'll be, calling on you. And then please let us know about, your road rallies, motorpark rallies to see, how we can also work with you so we can also enlighten people as well about this.
Right.
All right.
I assure you that whenever we are going to launch our coming number one at my own unit.
Okay, please let us know.
Also give you,
PlusTvAfrica would like to be a part of that. All right, thank you very much for taking out your time to watch and enjoy the show. I'm so sure you have learned some things from it today. Stay with us again, and we'll be on your screen next week. My name is Fumina Ajefe.